Raise your right hand, raise it right now. Hold it up before your eyes and stare at it. Tell me, what do you see? You see skin, fingerprints, and faintly pulsing blood vessels. It feels solid and real to you, doesn't it? If you use your left hand to pinch it, you can feel the elasticity of the flesh, sense its warmth, and perhaps even feel a twinge of pain. In that instant, your brain stamps a seal of validation upon this experience. This is real. This is my hand. I exist. This world is solid. Regrettably, this constitutes the greatest, most flawless, and longest-running collective illusion in human history. If, at this very moment, I could grant you the eyes of God, or perhaps hand you a microscope capable of magnifying objects 10,000 times, when you looked at that hand again, you would scream in sheer terror. For there is no hand there at all. No flesh, and certainly none of that meticulously cared for skin you take such pride in. There is only a vast, desolate, and utterly silent void. This is the subject of our discussion today, a truth so profound that it makes even the titans of physics, Nobel laureates themselves, tremble upon the podium. A truth capable of instantly shattering your mortgage worries, your anxieties, and your pitifully fragile ego. We often say, seeing is believing, yet modern physics long ago tossed that motto into the trash, and then stomped on it for good measure. You believe you inhabit a material world? Don't be ridiculous. In reality, you have always been immersed in a vast soup of energy, merely a tiny ripple occasionally rising to the surface, yet deluding yourself into believing you are the entire ocean. Let us begin by deconstructing this so-called material world. The chair you are sitting on right now, the phone you hold in your hand, and even the brain currently processing this damn video. What, fundamentally, are they made of? Atoms. You learned about them in middle school physics. But what your middle school teacher failed to tell you is just how absurdly empty an atom actually is. Imagine a massive football stadium. The atomic nucleus, the core of the atom, would be no larger than a single marble resting at the very center of the field. And the electrons? They would be nothing more than a few stray flies buzzing aimlessly around the stands. So, what fills the rest of that vast, cavernous space, the entire stadium? Emptiness. It means the absence of anything at all. This is the fundamental truth of what constitutes your body. 99.9999999% of the space within you is empty. If you were to squeeze all the atomic nuclei in your body together, stripping away all that useless empty space, guess how big the remaining lump of actual matter would be? It would be roughly the size of a single speck of dust. Do you understand? That you, who stands before the mirror every morning, fretting over a few wrinkles. That you, who has spent half a lifetime in debt just to own a concrete box in this city. That you, who bows and scrapes for the sake of a string of numbers on a bank statement, in essence. You are nothing more than cosmic dust, wrapped in a whole lot of blustering emptiness. You are like a giant inflatable doll, spectacular on the outside, but filled with nothing but air on the inside. Yet, that isn't even the most absurd part. What's truly absurd is the sense of touch. You might object, wait a minute. I clearly just touched this table, and it felt hard. If everything is truly empty, shouldn't my hand have passed right through it? Congratulations, you've been tricked by your own brain once again. You have never actually touched anything in your entire life. When you think your fingers are making contact with your phone screen, what is actually happening is an incredibly intense electromagnetic repulsion between the outer shell electrons of your finger's atoms and the outer shell electrons of the screen's atoms. They aren't actually touching at all. There is always a tiny gap, a distance between them. The hardness you perceive is, in reality, nothing more than that repulsive force pushing back, saying, "You shall not come any closer." Just think about what this implies for your love life. You thought you were embracing your lover? You thought you were kissing your child? No. Strictly speaking, from the perspective of physics, you have never truly made physical contact with another human being in your entire life. You are merely playing an eternal game of bumper cars with the electron fields surrounding you. Each of us is an isolated island, not only emotionally, but even more so, physically. We are imprisoned within our own electron clouds, forever unable to cross that invisible boundary. Hearing all this, do you feel a sense of existential emptiness? Don't worry, that was just the appetizer. Everything we've discussed so far falls strictly within the realm of classical physics, at most. It amounts to a basic popular science lesson on atomic structure. Next, we are about to enter the quantum realm, a domain that drove Einstein mad and left old Niels Bohr sounding utterly mystical. Here, you will discover that not only is matter empty, but existence itself remains a colossal question mark. You have surely heard of the oft-repeated double-slit experiment, yet I would bet you haven't realized the truly terrifying implications lurking behind it. Simply put, when we aren't looking at an electron, it behaves like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously. It possesses no fixed location, it is ubiquitous, a nebulous cloud of pure potentiality. However, the moment we place a camera nearby, or even just cast a fleeting glance, it instantly caves in, collapsing into a well-behaved, obedient particle that passes through only one of the slits. What does this signify? It implies far more than just microscopic particles suffering from social anxiety. It implies that the very act of observation creates reality. Before you looked at the moon, was the moon truly there? According to the most radical interpretations of quantum mechanics, it existed merely as a probabilistic wave function. Only the instant you looked up, the moment your consciousness projected itself toward it, did it collapse into a tangible entity hanging in the sky. Does this sound like the raving lunacy of a madman? Yet, this is precisely the conclusion presented to us by the Copenhagen interpretation, the established orthodoxy of modern physics. Fundamentally, this world contains nothing but a chaotic jumble of fluctuations. It is only through the presence of an observer, through the emergence of consciousness, that these fluctuations are compelled to resolve themselves, evolving into mountains and rivers, into the mundane realities right before your eyes, and into the poetic horizons of the distant beyond. At this juncture, if you were to turn back and dust off that copy of the Heart Sutra, you would feel a shiver run down your spine. 2,500 years ago, Gautama Siddhartha, meditating beneath the Bodhi tree, possessed neither particle colliders nor microscopes. He simply sat there with his eyes closed, then opened them and declared, "Form is emptiness, emptiness is form." In the past, you might have dismissed this as a moralistic sermon against carnal desire, or perhaps as mere spiritual chicken soup to console the defeated. Do you understand it now? This constitutes a masterful description from the realm of physics. Form is matter, specifically the particulate state that you perceive. Emptiness is the wave, that energetic state brimming with infinite potential. The very essence of matter is the fluctuation of energy, and under specific conditions, these energy fluctuations manifest as matter. The Buddha, that venerable sage, was, in essence, the very first quantum physicist. His only distinction lay in the linguistic framework he employed. He declared, all compounded phenomena are illusory. Translated into the language of physics, this means that all macroscopic matter is merely the collapse of a wave function, fundamentally an unstable state of energy. This raises a pivotal question. If this world is truly empty, if even my own body is merely an illusion, then why do I feel pain? Why does my heart ache when I suffer a romantic heartbreak? Why do I lie awake in anxious insomnia when I am destitute? If it is all a fabrication, why do these sensations feel so undeniably real? This is the universe's most cunning trick. It has engineered an incredibly lifelike system of tactile feedback and an advanced emotional rendering engine. Imagine you are playing a VR game, or, to take it a step further, imagine you are jacked into a neural interface just like in *The Matrix. If you were to be slashed by a blade within that game, your physical body would remain unharmed. Yet, the system would instantly transmit a primary signal directly to your pain receptors. You would scream in agony, you would be gripped by terror, and you would flee for your life. For you in that very moment, that pain would be absolutely real. Our lives are precisely such a fully immersive, holographic game. Your brain acts as a receiver, capturing signals from the quantum ocean and decoding them into images, sounds, tactile sensations, and tastes. You believe you are seeing the world. But no, your eyes merely convert photons into electrical signals transmitted to the brain, and within the darkness of your skull, the brain constructs and projects that visual scene for you. You believe you are listening to music, but no, that is merely the vibration of air against your eardrums, translated into neural impulses. You have never experienced the world directly. You have always lived, and continue to live, within the interpretive narrative woven for you by your own brain. Pain is simply a mechanism designed by this system to keep you playing the game. If crashing a car in this game didn't hurt, if having no money didn't leave you hungry, or if falling ill didn't cause discomfort, then no one would bother playing anymore. Everyone would simply go AFK, idle. To ensure you get fully immersed, to make you act out this illusory script with heart-wrenching intensity, the creator, whoever that may be, has implanted within us a most tenacious virus. This virus is called self-attachment. You cling to the belief that this physical body is you. Consequently, as the body ages little by little, you panic. You cling to the belief that external possessions are yours. Consequently, when the stock market crashes, you feel compelled to jump off a building. You have mistaken the mere props of the game for your very life force. What is this like? It is like sitting in a movie theater watching a tragedy unfold. When a character dies on the screen, you weep uncontrollably. Why? Because you have become immersed in the drama. You have forgotten that it is merely a beam of light projected onto a white sheet. If, at that moment, you were to suddenly stand up, walk to the screen, and reach out to touch it, what would you find? Only a piece of fabric, no tears, no blood, no tangled web of love and hate, nothing but the interplay of light and shadow. Quantum mechanics and Buddhist philosophy act as the voices attempting to shake you awake precisely when the cinematic drama reaches its emotional climax. They shout in your ear, "Hey! Stop crying. It's just the fluctuation of light, it's not real." However, upon hearing this, many people veer toward the opposite extreme. They might say, "Oh, if it's all just an illusion, then I'll just lie flat, give up. I'll let myself go completely. After all, money is empty, houses are empty, so why bother striving anymore?" This is nihilism, it is not wisdom. If you have truly attained insight into the nature of emptiness, you will not dissolve into a puddle of apathy. Instead, you will transform into a master player of the game. Consider professional esports athletes. Is it when they are most terrified of dying in the game that they execute their most dazzling maneuvers and position themselves with the utmost precision? No, on the contrary, it is precisely when they realize that this is merely a game that they are liberated from the fear of death, entering a state of pure flow. They play with intense dedication. Yet they remain unattached to the outcome. This is our true way of navigating existence within this quantum universe. Since matter is fundamentally empty, it implies that it is boundless, that it can be shaped and transformed by consciousness. Do you understand why so many people today speak of the law of manifestation and the law of attraction? Setting aside the mystical, superstitious trappings, the core logic aligns perfectly with the observer effect, wherever your consciousness focuses its attention. That is precisely where energy collapses into reality. If you spend your days fixating on scarcity, dwelling on thoughts like, I have no money, I am sick, or, I am unlucky, you are essentially ceaselessly observing that negative wave function, compelling it to collapse into the concrete reality of your life. You become an observer trapped in a vicious loop, using your own fears to construct your own personal hell. True awakening, however, does not mean becoming an immortal deity or immediately renouncing the material world to enter a monastery. Rather, it calls upon you to shift your mode of observation. You are to become a lucid sleepwalker, one who knows they are dreaming, yet still strives to make that dream magnificent. You recognize that the money in your hands is merely a symbolic form of energy, yet you utilize it wisely, allowing it to flow and generate value. You understand that the body is but a temporary vessel, yet you tend to it with care, ensuring this vehicle can carry you a few extra miles on your journey. You accept that loved ones will eventually depart, that human connections are ultimately just fleeting ripples of karmic interference, yet, in every moment of togetherness, you still pour your whole heart into loving them. This is the essence of marvelous existence within emptiness. Because it is empty, it possesses the potential to become anything. And because you are not bound by the illusion of absolute solidity, you are endowed with infinite creative power. Just think about it. If you knew that you could never truly die because of the conservation of energy, your consciousness merely returns to the quantum ocean or switches to a different broadcast channel, would you still be so terrified of aging? What, exactly, is death? From the perspective of quantum mechanics, death might simply mean that your consciousness is no longer bound to this specific cluster of atoms. You have transitioned from a particle state back to a wave state. You are no longer that fly trapped at the edge of a soccer field, you become the entire soccer field itself. Doesn't that sound far more romantic, and far more magnificent, than the notion that death is merely a light being extinguished? We live such exhausting lives, largely because we carry such heavy burdens. We take everything so seriously, our pride, our successes and failures, the opinions of others. We climb the mountain of life while lugging a pile of stones that don't even exist. Now, I'd like to ask you to take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. In the brief span of that single breath, billions of atoms have already departed your body, and billions of new ones have entered it. In truth, you are a new you every single second. The you of yesterday has, physically speaking, already died. The you of this very moment is a brand new reconfiguration. Since every second constitutes a new life, what exactly are you clinging to? Those tangled worries that keep you awake all night, that seething hatred that makes you grit your teeth, viewed from the quantum level. They are nothing more than tiny sparks generated when two particles brushed past each other in the void. Yet, you insist on capturing that spark, stuffing it into your pocket, and then screaming in pain as it burns you. Doesn't that seem a bit foolish? What I want to tell you is this: don't play the role in this drama called life with such tragic melodrama. The script may be predetermined, but the acting, that is entirely up to you. You can choose to be a miserable victim, or you can choose to be a graceful explorer. The next time you find yourself in pain, try stepping back, imagine floating up into the air, and observe that suffering self from above. Say to yourself, hey, look at that cluster of atoms down there. It's currently experiencing a vibrational frequency known as sadness. It's actually quite intense. When you begin to observe in this way, you will discover that the energy of that sadness instantly dissipates. For once you have seen through it, once you have recognized it for what it is, it can no longer hold any power over you. This is what Wang Yangming meant by, the mind is luminous. This is what Weineng meant by, fundamentally, there is not a single thing. This is not some abstruse philosophy. It is the ultimate quantum guide to survival. We are all travelers through time, temporarily lodging within these carbon-based biological vessels. Do not let this mere outer shell limit your imagination. You are a part of the universe. Indeed, you are the universe itself, observing itself through these very eyes. Cease feeling insignificant. Every single atom within your body originated from that magnificent supernova explosion billions of years ago. The atoms in your left hand may have come from one star, while those in your right may have come from another. You are the stars, you are a miracle, you are light itself. Since you are light, do not live like a stone. Raise your frequency. Do not constantly entangle yourself with low-frequency vibrations such as fear, greed, and jealousy. Quantum mechanics teaches us the principle of resonant frequency. Whatever waves you emit, the universe reflects back to you as your reality. If you wish to enjoy your time playing within this illusory world, then emit more waves of love, compassion, and joy. This is not superstition. It is the science of energy management. Finally, I leave you with a question. Before you go to sleep tonight, perhaps in the darkness, ask yourself this: if you were to strip away this body, strip away your name, strip away your memories, and strip away all your social identities, what remains? Who is that pure awareness? Who is that you, currently listening to my words? If it is empty, how is it able to contain the entire universe? Do not rush to find an answer. The true answer cannot be found within the confines of language. The answer lies in that very instant when you suddenly pause, within that moment of absolute stillness and blankness. It is there. You are safe. You were never truly born, and you will never truly die. So go forth and enjoy this game, players. The journey is long, but have no fear, for, after all, it is all merely a dance of light.